Hey everyone, hope you're doing absolutely amazing. I wanted to take a moment and just say I'm really excited about sharing today's podcast. Today's podcast is one I actually filmed a little while ago and just wanted to reshare it because it was about adding value to your accounts. How are you going to be able to create more and more value each and every day so you guys can actually make sure you're hitting quota, make sure that you're growing within inside your job. And so I wanted to reshare that. So I hope you all enjoy it.
The one thing I wanted to kind of talk about today, if you guys are reps, I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit of the different industry in there and then also how to provide value once you are a rep. But why I want to start with this is I've talked to a lot of reps. For example, they're ortho reps and they're like, hey, Jacob, I've been in ortho for 2 years. I'm making about $110,000. First off, congratulations. You're in the industry and ortho is not easy. It is definitely a tough industry, as you guys are all pretty sure you're all aware of. But running trays, being in cases, a lot of times they need you there, right? There's that. But the conversation I had with this young man was there's other positions that you can go work half the hours and make twice the amount of money. And he's like, that's not true. I talked to my mentor, AKA his regional sales manager, who they're making money off of. You all know the good story, but he's like, this is the best. There's no grass is greener. And I'm like, well, then tell me why I know reps that are doing plastic surgery or like breast and they work 25 hours a week and they make 300 grand. And he's like, what? No, they don't. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to believe me. I'm like, I literally have nothing to gain. I'm not in plastics. I'm not selling for the companies. I'm just letting you guys know what's possible. So the reason I'm just telling you that is it comes from associates to full line. I got a question. Hey, Jacob, and we got this in our group, but hey, Jacob, if I break in ortho, do I have to stay ortho the rest of my career? And the reality is you don't, right? If you're an associate sales rep role right now and you are in a certain division, you can transfer as a full line rep to another division. So like you can go for that promotion as long as, again, you can show that you've had success as an associate, you've been able to set meetings, you can close some deals, you can run lunches, you can show what they're looking for. We talk about this all the time. Sales is sales is sales. Now, you need to learn specific things for each and every division. You need to be an expert and all that good stuff. Yes, an ortho sale is way different than a capital sale, right? But you can learn the process. That's all it. You just need to know the information and kind of what that looks like. But being able to learn sales and what that requires, it's all pretty much the same. And so what I just want you guys to understand is if you're in a division right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I talk to other reps, I just feel like I'm working all the time, I'm not making as much money that I should be, just understand there are other divisions where you can make more and work less. But again, most of the time, I'll just say this, a lot of the ortho reps I'll talk to, or they'll reach out to me, they'll be like, you're a liar, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay. Like, you don't have to listen. And again, this is, you guys, just so you know, this is never brag. It's just to show you what's possible. It's like, I did north of 200 my first year. Well, I can promise you if I went in as ortho, I wouldn't have done that because I'm talking to reps that are doing 110, 120K. They're working way more than I was, and they're 2-3 years in. There are positions that are out there. You just have to be able to look. And again, how you do that is network. I tell people all the time, when I broke into medical device sales, I networked more once I was in the industry than I was out of the industry because now I'm actually seeing these reps in person. Hey, what's your job like? What do you do? What do you sell? What kind of thing? And then if you make relationships with those reps, guess what you can actually kind of talk about? Finances, right? And you can kind of just see what's possible compared to so many times in the rep world. It's all egos. It's like, I'm not going to talk to anybody else. It's I'm the best there is, which is great. And I hope you are. But the reality is you're probably not. There's probably someone better. And that's just life, right? It doesn't matter how good looking you are. There's probably someone taller, more fit, and makes more money. Like that is just life, right? And that's what we always just joke around, but it's no different than sales. Everyone has mentors. Like I have mentors. Like if you look at the millionaires, people who are making millions of dollars, they still have mentors because again, there's a difference between making $1 million and 10 million to 100 million to $1 billion. There's levels, no different than med device sales. If you're an associate to a full line rep to a certain division of like, if you're making this much, there's levels to it and just being able to learn what it is. So I just wanted to touch on that because I've got that question multiple times throughout the week of, hey, where should I be going? Once I get into ortho, or for example, let's take out, if I get into urology, do I have to stay in urology my whole life? No, you don't have to, right? There's opportunities outside of it. So you just need to know the process. But again, just understand sales is sales is sales. I would just be networking so you can learn more about what opportunities are out there. But going back to, if you're an associate and you're in one and you're not really vibing with where you're at and you're not really enjoying where you're at, again, first off, I'm going to tell you to stick it out for at least a year or two. Right? Usually just at least a year, because then if you're doing the right things, like we're teaching on this and you're keeping track of your numbers, then you can go on to the next level. And then you can be like, hey, I could provide value at this different company. But so many times I'll get someone who reaches out, they're 5 months in, they're like, I hate it. I can't do it. I think I'm going to quit. And I'm like, hey, just stick it out for a year, right? Because you can do anything for a year. And I'll just tell you guys, like there's multiple times it wasn't enjoyable where I was at certain points, but that's the life. Like just think about your life now. Like there's always going to be tough times. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or anything. It's not sunshine and rainbows all the time. You got to think about the bigger picture in mind. So if you know you want to do med device sales, well, they need to see at least a year.
After helping thousands of people break into medical device sales, we've received a lot of messages of asking for more personalized coaching and mentorship. Our average member breaks in 8.5 weeks at over $105,000. And if you're really interested and really motivated to break into medical device sales, you can click the link below or check out our website at newtomedicaldevicesales.com. See all the testimonial videos of people breaking in with Medtronic at over $170,000, at Abbott, $175,000 as a full line rep. So if you're really excited and also motivated and wanting personalized coaching and mentorship, then go and click the link below, schedule a call, and we'll get you where you want to go. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
After a year, you can start, or 8 months or 10 months or whatever it is, then you can start applying and saying, hey, I've been able to accomplish this. They're taking a little longer and I know I can go make an impact. And this is a company I've actually researched and talked to. And I know that this is what I'm passionate about. And you can grow that aspect of it. And that's where you can make that transfer right away. Same thing if you're a rep right now and you've been in for 2 or 3 years and you're like, I don't know if this is mine. I'm running all the way. I talk to reps that are literally working half the amount of hours and making more money on a base. This doesn't make any sense to me. What am I doing? Network with those people. Reach out to people. There's always those opportunities. Now, again, that's not me saying ortho's bad, because I know a lot of people who are in ortho absolutely love their life, make good money, and have a great work-life balance as they build the teams and all that good stuff. It's just understand everybody's different, because I say this all the time, especially with people breaking into medical device sales. Everyone always asks me, what's the best division? That's dependent, right? Because if you tell me I don't care about hours, I just want to make the most money, well, that's a certain division. If you're like, hey, Jacob, I need to make at least this much money, but I need a good work-life balance, well, that's this division. That's going to tell you which company to go to, right? You just have to understand where you're going. But each person, because I can say, hey, you work 30 hours a week and make 150 grand. There's going to be some people who are like, that's amazing. That's what I want. There's going to be other people who's like, that sucks. 150K is no money and I need to be working. So everyone's different. So just understand that. Now to the second part of this, and where really the value is coming in, is how are you providing value to your accounts? So the reason I just wanted to come into this is because I just had a talk with actually a personal trainer, because I still train people every once in a while, but I was just at the gym working out, and I was talking to one of my buddies. He has his training business, and he was like, hey man, tell me a little bit more about medical device sales. And then I know you teach people how to break in, and what's that? Can you just give me more information? But then he was like, man, you're super smart, because you're taking people that are already, like, trainers are hardworking, very disciplined, all that stuff, but sometimes they don't like to sell, right? And so what we're just doing, again, I don't only work with personal trainers, I work with everybody, but the conversation was, well, how have you had success in it? And I always say this, and I've said it on New to Medical Device Sales a million times, it's because I never tried to be a medical device sales rep. And what I mean by that, I'm never here to try to make the sale, come in and do all. I just always tried to be a personal trainer. I'm trying to make a relationship with who I'm talking to, try to get to know who the scrub tech is. How long's the scrub tech been there, right? What makes them tick, right? What makes them excited? Getting to know people and getting the relationship, because I hear this all the time. Relationship sales is dead. Like, you can't do it. You can't win with relationship sales. Well, that's true. You can't depend on just a relationship sale, because guess what? If you suck at what you do and you're not good at what you do and you don't know any information, and the doctor asks you 4 questions, you say, I'll get back to you. The doctor's like, why do we even use you? You don't even know what you sell. You have to be an expert in your spot. So if you can be an expert, you're going to provide the value and they're going to want to use you. But then if you can just be a good human being, get to know them, read the room, see where you can go, and you can do that. People want to buy from people they want, or like they like. People want to be around people they enjoy, that actually enjoy them, right? And so many times reps and people want to come in and tell them how great their product is and all this good stuff. Instead of what I did to have success in my territory was just get to know the people in the room. Because the biggest thing that people miss is when I walked out of the room, one of the coolest moments, let me tell you this quick story, is like one of the coolest moments is I left a room and I came back about 3 minutes later because I forgot something. So I grabbed it. And when I walked in, it was the nurses giving me compliments to each other about how great I was. And I walked in on it and they're like, oh, we were just talking about you. The reason I'm telling you that is that's not like, oh, feel good, Jacob, all that. It's to tell you when you can go and care about other people, you're not pushing your products all the time and you're just getting to know people. You're an absolute resource inside the OR room, and that you can actually help the cases, and then you're making their life easier. They appreciate that. And guess who they sell to? The doctors that you can't get in front of, because they work with them all the time. They're going to be talking about you when you're not in the room. And that's the whole goal of sales. How can you be making influence? How can you be talking to people? How can you get touch points when you're not there? And it's by caring about the people you're there. And so that's the biggest thing I need to get across to you guys, that especially if you're new reps, every single time, even now when we get people in the course that break in, first 6 months, I'm going to go make this sale. I'm going to do that. And why I can say that? That was me. Oh, I'm going to go do this sale. And then you realize you don't know what you're doing. You don't know who you're talking to, all that good stuff. And you just realize, hey, I'm just going to go get to know my accounts. I'm going to go get to know the relationships of the OR director, my specialty head, right? Like I was in GYN, I would go talk to the GYN directors of the OR, right? That's who's going to be, we're going to be working with. Get to know them, make a relationship with them. Guess what? When they reached out to me, could I throw them a bone and help them out? I always did. If I could, right? Because you're building those relationships. And again, if you help them out, they'll help you out. Well, my biggest account that I had when I first got there, my competitor was like the front runner by a long shot. It wasn't even close. But over the year I was there, it was continuing, almost 2 years, is I just continued to wear it down of showing up. I was always reliable. I always showed that I was going to follow through. I made it to every case. I was always a resource. I always was polite. I always, I always joke around. It's be the golden retriever that's shaking your butt when you have a scrub tech or somebody who's mean to you, you just blow it off. And you don't want to become that jerk of a rep. And I'm going to be sitting here tell you guys, I've been there. It's pretty easy to go become like, I'm all that when you're running 133% to plan. You still got a couple months, you're crushing it, you're making big deals, and you're like, oh my gosh, right? But then you become a jerk and nobody likes you, and you'll see it in a reflection of your territory. I've lived it, I've done it, and that's where I had to have the resets and be like, no, you're here to provide value. Who cares about it? Because the more value you provide, the more patients you're helping, the more value you provide in the OR room, the more you'll smash quota, the more money you'll make because they want to be around you. And so that's what I wanted to get across today is make sure when you're in the OR room, when you're with an account, when you're with a surgery scheduler, when you're doing a lunch, that you're just trying to provide value and get to know the person on the other side. Because it's like we talked about, if you can learn who the person is on the other side that you're talking to, you can learn how to sell to them. If you talk to a doctor and they tell you that they really care about patient outcome, or they care about the staff being able to set it up super easy, or they care about the quickness of it, or they care about the price of it, whatever it is, they're going to be telling you, and you're going to be asking good probing questions to learn that. And then guess what? Now you know what to focus on. Because early in my career, I made the mistakes of saying, hey, we're more affordable. We have all this. And when we had all the data to prove all the good stuff, but I would be spending time about, we were in Arizona where it's a lot of split share and it's a lot of private. So money's a big thing for them in reimbursement. I'd be spending about that. And then I'd be talking to a doctor who's like, Jacob, I really don't care. I'm working for the hospital. I'm here for patient outcome. And why is this better? Well, then I just wasted 5 minutes of my time. And then also, now it just looks like I'm trying to sell to them, right? Compared to, okay, hey, what do you look for? Why do you use what you use now? Did you use it because you used it in residency program, or did you get another rep to transfer from what you did? And like I always said, what'd you use in residency? And then they're going to tell you, and then now you can figure out what they're using because they're either still using that product or not. And then it'll be like, oh, what made you make the change? They'll tell you a lot of times when they made that change, there was a reason of they thought it was better. They were open to it. Well, that's great because, hey, doc, because if you're open to that, wait till you're open to this and what we can do and blah, 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 blah. Right? But if they're like, oh, you're just using what you did in residency, have you ever considered this? And if they're like, no, it works, I'm not doing that, that's when you can come back and be like, well, you also used to use a BlackBerry at one point. Now we use iPhones, right? There's a bunch of different things you can always combat those, but you're getting to know who your person is. You're understanding what you need to say to them to sell to them, and being able to just close it. And again, I always tell you guys in the first meeting when I was meeting with somebody, I'm not trying to close them. I'm not trying to get the commitment. All I'm trying to get is a commitment to, are you open to doing a surgery with us? Would you? And I always was just like, let's compare apples to apples, right? And then go schedule 3-5 surgeries, because then you just make sure that you can manage the expectations. Hey doc, the first time you rode a bike, it probably took a couple times. You probably fell a couple times, right? Yeah. Okay, great. Just like when you come and use our product, it's not going to be like you grab and go first time, because if you were used to, like for me, it was like, oh, I'm used to doing stuff on the right hand side and now you have me using a foot pedal. Well, this is more difficult. It's not more difficult. It's just taking some time to learn it. So you get the stuff scheduled, and then when you're in the OR before the case, you're going to manage expectations. You're going to show them, like I would show them a video of, hey, this is what to expect. This is where we're different. This is what we told you about. This is what you're going to see. I will walk you through everything. I just need you to just kind of maybe go a little slower than you're used to. to so I can actually make it make sense. Because all of my cases were the ones when the doctors are like, I already know it, bam, bam, they're shoving it in. It's not working because they're not listening. I'm like, hey, drop the wrist, and they're lifting the wrist up. Hey, it's not going in, And so that's what I would just tell you guys is if you can continue to do that and you'll learn who you're selling to and you have those conversations, you can manage those expectations. You can learn what actually makes them tick, what's going to make them excited about going into using your product. And then it all goes back to if you're providing value, then you can get the staff to like you. You can show that you follow through. You say you're going to be at a case, you'll be at the case. You say you're going to email, you follow up with an email. All the above, then it just continues to show that you are who you say you are. And again, it's always about your reputation. So don't be that rep who says you're going to do something and then don't. Always be the rep who follows through. But I wanted to just focus on you guys. Again, being a personal trainer, it was, hey, how's your day going? Hey, how's life going? What's going on in your life right now? Hey, if it's a new client, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. It was just building relationships. That's why I've been so successful in medical device sales. It has nothing to do with sales or any of it. It's just I'm trying to build relationships with the people I'm with. And they'll be like, relationships don't make deals. Well, I would caveat that is what happens if you are great at relationships, you can build that, but you're still an expert in what you do. I studied it. I knew my products like they were supposed to be known. I knew the competitor's product. I knew where we were different. But what I never did was put the other product down. I never said, hey, this is horrible. I would just say, hey, this is what we do. Can you see the difference here? Oh, yeah. Hey, doc, when you do this with their product, this is actually what you don't have to do that step. Oh, really? Right? Because I just knew who I was selling against. It's not talking bad about them because we had talked about this, I think, before, but I had a post go viral on LinkedIn because it talked about I converted a doc and the doctor talked about, when your competitors here, all they do is talk trash about you and your product. But you've never once, I've worked with you 4 times and you never once brought them up. You just bring up your product and talk about the patient and how it's getting a better outcome. That she converted to us. She started using us. That was a doctor I won by, again, not comparing to the competition of all this. It was, hey, do you see this difference? Does this help you? Is this more efficient? Especially when she was more clinical. And just being able to provide that value, but being an expert on what you sell. Because there was we would sell a device. Hey, sometimes if you couldn't go in and it was a retroverted uterus, hey, you need to flip it upside down or something goes on, right? Knowing that, and then the slides right in and they're like, oh my gosh. That's literally what got me with my top doc was knowing that product. They were struggling. I said, hey, just try this. Did it, slid right in. She's like, oh my gosh. I've been struggling with this forever. You just saved my life. That was the moment the relationship changed because the first 3 months up to that, she just thought I was a nice guy. But then I actually showed that I could be an asset and provide value inside the OR room to make her cases go well. And that's what I would tell you guys to focus on is when you're in the OR room, you're just providing value. And that may be not talking. But I just will tell you guys, each doctor, each person you deal with is going to be different. Yes, there's sometimes you go in and they don't want to talk to you. They don't want anything to do with you and they're there to do a business. That's great. Then you step off. But then there's other people that want to know you, right? And I always just tell people, if I was known as Jacob, the rep, I failed. Because this is when it went to where I was going, but I have a dog. I knew I was winning when I'd walk in, they're like, hey, how's your dog doing? Hey, everyone follows people on social media. Hey, I saw you went hiking this week and tell me about it. Hey, what are you doing this? They started acting like I was a friend and it's starting to help me. And then I would start getting DMs or text messages. Hey, this doc's going to be here on this day. You should show up. Hey, I just to let you know, this case went really bad with your competitor. You should know that you should go talk to this doctor now. They literally will give you what you need and the ammunition to be successful if you can make those relationships, show that you care about them, and you're not there for the money. That is the last thing I just have to say because there's too many reps. I hear about it. I used to be the guy, talk about money, talk about how much you can make, all the good stuff. You're going to be this egotistical, whatever it is. Focus on providing value. Just focus on helping your accounts, providing the best possible service so you have the best patient outcome. And I promise you, the finances will come. You will be reimbursed more than you can imagine. You will hit your quotas. It will help. Hopefully this was helpful. You guys can reach out to us on First Year in Medical Device Sales. We are on the social media platforms, New to Medical Device Sales, but also Jacob McLaughlin on LinkedIn. Always love connecting with you guys. Always happy to help you guys. Again, just wanting, and girls, but I want you guys to know that I'm just here to help you. I want you all to be successful. I want you all to win. I want to be able to share my experience so hopefully you can learn faster, have faster success, and continue to promote and crush it in this industry. We are going to be we have several guests lined up so you can can hear their experience, how they did it in medical device sales, where they went from associates to full line reps in a quick time, how they've crushed it at some of the largest companies in the world, some of the things. And I can't wait to actually just kind of talk about some rep stories, because it's going to be fun, because we all know that we all go through things. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time. If you can, press that like and subscribe button. A 5-star review helps us grow this channel. And if you can share this with other people, it means the world, because again, we're just trying to provide as much value as you can. If you want to share it on LinkedIn, that would be amazing. But again, always happy to connect at Jacob McLaughlin. I hope you all have an amazing week. Keep getting after it. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.